Welcome to the Head Trash Show. My name is Alexia Leachman and I'm the founder of Head Trash, home to the new and unique head trash clearance method that removes unwanted negative thoughts, feelings and emotions quickly and effectively so that you can achieve clarity, confidence and contentment in your life. My goal with this podcast is to teach you how to create some headspace by helping you to unpick what's blocking you and sharing some tips and how-tos for clearing it. Tune in every week as I share simple strategies to help you to achieve confidence and clarity in your life and business. To find out how to clear your head trash quickly and effectively using our unique method, pop over to headtrash.com to get our free download and subscribe for our free head trash clearance updates. And now for the show. Hello and welcome back to the Head Trash Show. This is me, your host, Alexia Leachman. Now, on today's show, I want to talk about giving and receiving because, as I'm sure you know, it's Christmas right now. We're running around desperately trying to get the last of our presents to have in time for Christmas. And it's a time of giving. So I thought, what better subject to talk about than the idea of giving and receiving? Because there's a lot behind this. There's a lot going on beneath the surface when we dig a little bit deeper at the idea of giving and receiving. So that's what I want to help you to understand today. And so some things I want to explore really is, are you a giver or a taker? Are you able to receive gracefully? What are the bad sides of giving? Because yes, there are some negative aspects of giving if you're an extreme giver. So are you an extreme giver? This is what I want to talk about today. So first of all, I want to start with the idea of why. Why do we give? So what are the motivations that we have for giving people stuff, for gift giving? Now, some of the reasons that we might give include the idea of, well, we want to be generous or we want to be thought of as a generous person. And maybe we give because it makes us feel good to see other people happy. But perhaps also we give because we care about that other person, or we care about their welfare or the welfare of the community, and this idea of being giving and being charitable. But also we give because of social pressure. You know, like now at Christmas or birthdays, those times of year are when we're probably giving because of the social pressures. So when you think about giving, what are your reasons for giving? And out of any of those, which ones resonate for you? But notice how some of those actually, there's something else going on there. Because in some of those reasons, there's some very selfish reasons going on for giving. You know, if we're giving because it makes us feel good, then part of that is actually a little bit selfish. Or the idea that we want others to think of us as being generous, then actually we're giving because we're wanting something in return on some level. And so is that really giving? Now, when you're getting sucked into the Christmas cheer and feeling compelled to give presents this year, think about your views about giving. Are you relishing this opportunity to shower people with gifts and enjoying having an excuse to do so? Because I actually love to do it all the time, but you know that it would just look a little bit weird if you just showered them in gifts all year, and that would make them feel a little bit, you know, that might make other people feel uncomfortable. Or are you feeling compelled to do so and actually you're doing it reluctantly and you're just doing it because of the social pressures, and actually that's making you feel slightly resentful? Maybe you don't have the money to spend on these kind of presents and the sheer quantity is actually very stressful for you. This idea of giving brings a lot of stress. But the other thing about giving is how you actually do the giving. Because remember, the way in which a gift is given is just as important as the content of the gift itself. Because often there's plenty of gift exchanges that are fraught with these attitudes that can result in diminished self-esteem or resentment, where you've got on the one hand a giver that's feeling superior and making that very explicit through the gift that they're giving and the way that they're giving that gift to the other person, which means that the other person, the receiver, their dignity is taken a bit of a bashing. And then you've got those people that maybe you've got a family member who's incredibly wealthy, who's splashing out on gifts at Christmas. And because, maybe you can't afford as much, then your gift to them looks a little bit rubbish. And suddenly in that moment, all your feelings about your own financial situation and, your feelings of life inadequacy and failures and all that stuff just comes piling in that moment. And you're not able to enjoy the gift as it stands because you've got all that other stuff that's coming in as well. And this is why it's sometimes said that the highest form of charitable giving is actually performed anonymously. But the thing is, you can't be a giver without there being a taker. There needs to be some people there who will happily and gratefully receive. So are you one of these people that are able to receive? I know myself that I really struggle with receiving. Not when it comes to gifts, but when it comes to gestures or favours or things like that. And I always feel like if I accept what they're giving me in that sense, that I'm forever indebted to that person and they've got a hold over me for some reason. But surely that says more about me and my head trash than about them and their generosity. Unless, of course, it's how they do it. It's how they make me feel in that moment, maybe through what they're saying and, what they're implying in their behaviour. And of course, all this is incredibly subtle often. And often our own feelings and inadequacies can pile in and confuse us in the moment to make us think there is an implied expectation of something back when actually there isn't. And so this is a very delicate area, this whole idea of being a giver, being a receiver, or indeed a taker. There are some people that just take. There's a really, really great book out called Give and Take by Adam Grant. And he took a close look at what happens within companies and organisations when it comes to giving and receiving. Because there was the thinking that those people that succeed, the people that get to the top and the go-getters are those that are taking all the time. Those people that take at the expense of other people, that are very selfish, that ruthlessly go after the top of the company, the top of their game and whatever that might be. But actually what's really interesting is he found that wasn't the case. So in his book, he talks about takers as being people who, when working with others, try to get as much out of that interaction for their own personal benefit and give back as little as they can in return. And takers believe that is the quickest way to success. But givers, on the other hand, he says, go out of their way to help others by mentoring or sharing their insights or lending a hand when possible without seeking anything at all in return. And then he says there are some matchers. So matchers that actually represent the majority of us are somewhere in the middle and probably do a little bit of both. But he says that the most successful people in a wide range of jobs are those who focus on contributing to others. And I guess for some of us that doesn't come as a surprise, whereas others might think, wow, that's not what they expected to hear. However, this does come with a caveat. Extreme generosity or giving does compromise your ability to succeed. And that's because givers rapidly burn out when they're in a large organisation, and their desire to help others can actually cause them to take on more than their normal responsibilities, and so they end up suffering. But also, they might go unnoticed because of their reticence to accept recognition for their accomplishments, because they just have this default need to just help and to do things for others. They aren't thinking enough about themselves and what they need out of that situation. So you see, there are disadvantages of giving. People can take advantage of you. They'll take you for granted. You don't get appreciated, possibly. But also, people might assume that you will continue to give, because if you're known for that, then they will just start to expect it of you, and they might even become reliant on it. Now, that isn't very helpful for them or for you, is it? But also, when you give what you don't have to give, you're depleting your own resources, and that might mean your money, your time, or your energy, and that can lead to your feeling resentful, bitter, exhausted, and you might even become ill. So you see, if you are in this default pattern of giving at an extreme level, then it's actually not very good at all. But also, if you're giving because of those personal needs that we touched on at the beginning, maybe you're giving because it makes you feel good to see others happy. You're not really doing it because you care about the other person, but more because of how it makes you feel. Then again, these are aspects of giving that aren't very healthy. And what is more helpful is for us to be able to give in a balanced way. Because, as we've heard, the givers who burn out consistently put the interests of others ahead of their own, which will mean sacrificing their energy and their time, and that is going to undermine your ability in the long run to give. And so that's not really good for you, because actually when you're giving, you need to start with yourself, because if you don't start giving to yourself first, you will not be able to give to others for any extended period of time. And so back to what Adam was saying in his book, Give and Take. You've got those that are able to maintain their success, and those people are able to balance concern for others with their own interest. But also, instead of helping all of the people all of the time, they help many of the people much of the time. So they haven't got that default behaviour setting where they just automatically say yes all the time and they help no matter what. They give it consideration, they think about it and help when it adheres to some criteria that they may have set for themselves. But also they're careful to give in ways that are high benefit to others, but not necessarily high cost to themselves. And that's understanding ways where you're able to add a lot of value to somebody else's life, but where for you that's nothing. That's something that you're able to do very easily. So for example, at work, let's say you're an absolute whiz at Excel or some kind of software. And so, for you to help somebody do something very quickly on their computer might take you 5 minutes and it's nothing for you. Whereas for somebody else to struggle with it, they might be wrestling with it for an hour and a half and they still can't do it. And when they do it, they'll do it really badly and have to do it again. So in that moment, you see, you're able to help somebody else in a way that doesn't cost you a lot, but is hugely beneficial to the other person. And that will be noticed and remembered. So where do you think you are when it comes to giving? How do you think you give? Are you one of those people that just say yes without thinking, are giving all the time to the point that you are actually suffering from that? Or are you able to give mindfully? And are you able to give, in a way that's healthy for both you and them? Think about when you are giving your gifts. How do you do that? How do you say what you're saying? How do you communicate the act of giving? And how does the other person feel in that moment? And what about receiving, when you're receiving gifts from others, whether they are actual gifts, whether they're gestures? How do you do that? And are you able to do that in the moment and still feel good about yourself? So what I want you to do as you go into the period of giving and the season of goodwill is to just have some intentions around giving and receiving. And I've got these from a Deepak Chopra site. So they're not my words, but I found them and I thought these are lovely. And he's got 2 beautiful intentions around giving and receiving. The first one, wherever I go and whomever I encounter, I will bring them a gift. The gift may be a compliment, a flower, or a prayer. Today I will give something to everyone I come into contact with. And so I will begin the process of circulating joy, wealth and affluence in my life and the lives of others. And then when it comes to receiving, this is what he suggests. Today I will gratefully receive all the gifts that life has to offer me. I will receive the gifts of nature, sunlight and the sound of birds singing or spring showers or the first snow of winter. I will also be open to receiving from others, whether it be in the form of a material gift, money, a compliment or a prayer. And that's what I like to leave you with as we go into the season of goodwill and the festive period. So I hope that this has given you some food for thought and that you will have a very, very Merry Christmas. And I will see you on the other side. Bye for now. You've just been listening to Alexia Leachman here on The Head Trash Show. If you enjoyed the show, I'd really appreciate you leaving a review here on iTunes. And don't forget to pop over to headtrash.com to get your copy of our free 5 Steps to Clearing Head Trash guide. So now stay tuned for upcoming episodes and more tips and how-tos for clearing your head trash and reclaiming your headspace. Until next time, bye for now.